Hey everyone, Kyle Mike here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. Big news of the week was maybe not the Lambeau win, which now seems forever ago, but the hiring of a new team president that's been dominating the news the past couple of days. Justin, you and I got a chance to talk to him for the first time on Friday today at a news conference. There's a lot of debate back and forth about his merits and not being a football guy, but also being great with money, and how much does he really need to know football to do what he's going to be doing for the Lions and so forth. What was your big takeaway from your first meeting with Wood and where he stands with the Lions?
Big takeaway was the fact that they made me nervous yesterday talking about this council to select the next general manager consisting of Martha Ford, the 4 children, and Rod Wood. And none of those have great football experience, and that was a big question I had coming into that. And he acknowledged that they're in the process of hiring an advisor with extensive football experience to help them make that decision. I still say the GM hire is 10 times more important than the presidential hire from a football perspective. I think it's going to be the most important in terms of on-field product for the next 10 years. So to hear that they're going to be hiring that person, announcing hopefully shortly in the next few days or week, is the biggest takeaway I got, that they're actually looking for somebody that can help them make a football decision.
Well, I do think there's some prevailing skepticism there with the hire, and rightfully so.
Deservedly.
This is an ownership group that has one playoff win to its name in 51 years. They've chronically made bad hires to run their organization. Loyalty has been an issue to a fault, especially under William Clayford. So there's some built-in mistrust, I think, there with the Lions and their decision making. And then they go out and they do their national search for 2 weeks, and they hire a guy from Ford Field who's been running their money for the past 8 years. So the skepticism was natural. But beyond that, maybe it's unpopular, maybe some fans don't like it initially. That's to be expected. But, the bottom line is this man a good hire for the position? And, he's being hired to run the business, and he's great with money. I mean, if billionaires trust him with their money, that's got to be good enough for the Lions. The big question in my mind was how much football responsibilities will he have? And he has even less than I was anticipating. He's not touching the personnel. He's not touching the roster. He's not touching the coaching staff. He's not even touching Jim Caldwell. That'll be the new GM's call. He's not even doing the salary cap or the contract negotiations, which are 2 principal components of Tom Lawand. And so he's touching even less of the football matters than I was expecting. And I think that's a promising sign that maybe this move could work out, even if he doesn't have the football pedigree.
Yeah, when I first heard the signing, I expected the president to continue into that capologist role. His role with the cap and with personnel decisions will be the financial impact on the franchise. He's more worried about keeping the team in the black,
profitable, cash flow, and that kind of stuff.
And I think he's clearly qualified for that role. He's qualified as a leader of business. He's done it at multiple different levels. Nobody really cares about that. I understand that's watching this video. They don't care whether the Lions are making money. They care whether they're winning football games. That's why the only decision that matters to me and probably to most fans is who he hires as general manager. I think we're all eagerly waiting to see who this advisor is going to be. That's the next step in a lengthy process.
And I think that page will turn sooner rather than later.
Sure.
The Lions, one of the reasons why they wanted to hire the president so quickly was so they could take on this GM search more earnestly. Now that they have someone in place, they can go about that. They have the committee in place. They're looking for the advisor. I think they'll make headway on this search quickly, and that's going to be the bigger hire for sure for them in terms of personnel, because they got to figure out what to do with Matthew Stafford. They got to figure out what to do with Jim Caldwell, Calvin Johnson, all these guys, and these are football decisions that will be made by the new GM. And one of my reactions to today was, just seeing how little of a role that Wood will have in football matters, is that the GM's going to have a lot of power. He's going to have more power than Martin Mayhew did. That could be an attractive opportunity for a lot of candidates out there. I think this is, the one red flag or yellow flag, if you will, with the job is the uncertainty with ownership and who has power and is there a power struggle and what's the succession plan. But beyond those questions, those organizational questions, this is a great football opportunity for a lot of GMs because you have a good cap situation. You have a ton of draft picks in this upcoming draft.
44, I think.
Roundabout. You have probably a top 5 or top 10 pick. You're going to have a ton of resources to immediately shape this roster, more than you will on a typical roster, and there still is a lot of talent on this team. I really
Definitely.
believe that. Get an offensive line in place, and this offense looks a whole lot different. And we saw against Green Bay, there's still some talent on the defense. You get Levy back next year. This is a good football opportunity, I think, for a future GM.
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to hire as this advisor. I know the Chicago Bears brought in Ernie Corsi, former Giants general manager last year to help with. He's one of the guys on the career advisement panel that the NFL has that the Lions are leaning on. Wouldn't be surprising at all to see them pull somebody from there, whether it's a Ron Wolf or a Tony Dungy or Ernie Corsi. Won't be Mike Valenti. I can say that much.
Yeah, he just nuked the franchise. In fact, to the point where Rod Wood was actually asked about Bill Keenis, the PR boss, during his press conference and Bill Keenis' job security. I think that's the first time Bill Keenis, the PR boss's job security has come up before the security of the head coach, which actually happened in this press conference, just by how much Valenti nuked the franchise.
Business decisions, man.
Yeah, business is tough, man. That's all we got for today. For Justin, not Jim Caldwell. This is Justin Rogers. I'm Kyle Meinke. I think we are M Live. Keep it right here.
Certainly.